skyrocketing wealth, millions and millions of new jobs, and a booming middle class. We're going to boom like we've never boomed before. And we're going to unleash a manufacturing renaissance right here in Pennsylvania, including fracking like we've never fracked before. We're going to frack, frack, frack. You know, our opponent said, there'll be no fracking, no fracking. We'll never frack, we'll never frack. Then she started seeing poll numbers, by the way. And by the way, speaking of poll numbers, do you mind if I mention poll numbers? Because I only mention them when they're good. I'd never mention it. But one that's hit me really amazingly, Rasmussen, very highly respected poll. JD, it just came out. I don't think you heard this one, but this is a shocker. You know, they always say the Democrats will win the Hispanic vote, but we've been creeping up rather rapidly. And Rasmussen is one of the most respected polls. I mean, Republicans would get 4, 5, 6, 9, 10%. They just came out with a poll, 62% for Trump. Think of that. Think of that. And 34% for Kamala. I don't usually use her last name because nobody knows who I'm talking about. I go, Harris, Harris. They say, who's Harris? It's happening all the time. Who's Harris? And we can't find out who she is because if we do, our country is going to be in big trouble. We will live in a very beautiful city or town that are safe and clean with borders that are sealed and secure. And again, we want people to come into our country. We all want that. We need that. But you know what? We want them to come in legally. They're going to come in legally and love for our country. And America will once again be strong and confident and free. And we're going to have that. We're going to have it strong, confident, and free. That's why I'm here today. You know, I could right now be having a beautiful life. I don't have to be here. I could be on a gorgeous beach someplace. I have such nice property. I could be in Monte Carlo as an example, but I'd rather be in Butler with you. I would rather. I'd rather be in Butler. And I think JD would rather be in Butler, JD. No, I'd rather be here because we're doing something. You know, they get a lot of rich guys that go, nobody cares about them. I had one about a month ago, very, very rich guy, and he called me up. He said, President, I've known him for a long time. I don't say how long because I don't want my wife to hear that number. It's a long time. But he's very successful, and he said to me, sir, could you do me a favor? The guy's worth billions of dollars. He said, could you do me a favor? I can't get into a restaurant. Do you think you could call them to get me in? And I said, what the hell is the good of being rich if you can't get into a restaurant, right? And I called the maitre d'. Hi, I'm a little embarrassed. Hi, this is Donald Trump. I recognize your voice. I said, would you do me a favor? A friend of mine is online about a mile back. This is a very successful restaurant. And he's got his wife. I described the wife. Could you possibly go get them? Could you go get them and bring them in? And he did. And my friend called me up the next day. He said, thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, doctor, please. Doctor in the house. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, doctor. Yeah, thank you. Take your time, doctor, please. We got plenty of time, right? We got a lot of time. You doing okay? Take your time. We've got to protect our people, right? Take your time. It's all right, doctor. Go ahead. That's all right. That's all right. People come out 2-3 days ago, and then they get it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. We appreciate. Everybody appreciates it. Yep. Take your time. That's great. That's great. Do we have the greatest people in the world? We have the greatest people in the world. First responders, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Great job. Thank you very much. Thank you, all. Fellas, thank you. First responders, thank you very much. People are here for a long time, and we appreciate it very much. And so sometimes that happens. A lot of times that happens, actually. But she'll be great. You watch. So 12 weeks ago, we all took a bullet for America, and all we are all asking is that everyone goes out and votes. We got to win. We can't let this happen to our country. We can't take another 4 years like this. We won't have a country left. We're not going to have a country left. And all of this will be for nothing if you don't get out and vote. It will all be for nothing. We will have talked about it, and if we do it, it'll be the greatest achievement, I think, in the history of politics for all of us for this age. Because we're going to change our country around and fast. We're going to do things that nobody thought were possible. We're going to do them fast. So Pennsylvania, it's time to stand up for America and a time to save our country. This is really about saving our country. It's never been like this. When you look at the crime, look at the crime. Look at the people that are coming in, murderers. 13,099 murders let in over the last short period of time. Murderers that have been released from penitentiaries, prisons, jails, released into our country. Crime rates all over the world are down. They're taking their gang members and their criminals, they're taking their people in jail, and they're releasing them into our country. We can't have it. You know, we just can't have it. How do you get more simple than that? They're releasing murderers, they're releasing drug dealers, they're releasing gang members and criminals, human traffickers. Mostly they traffic in women, and they're releasing them all into our country, and they're emptying their jails, and their crime rates in Venezuela are way down because, you know, but it's not only in South America, it's all over the world, in Africa, the Congo. There are a lot of people coming out of the Congo in Africa. They're coming out from Asia. They're coming out from the Middle East, Yemen. They're coming out from Yemen. A lot of people coming out of Yemen. And they're known terrorists, and they just release them into our country from countries unknown also. They know nothing about the people. Oh, go right in. These people are crazy. And we have to win. We'll stop it immediately, and it will be a big deportation. We're going to deport these people. We're going to get them out of our country immediately, or we won't have a country. And if we win Pennsylvania, we will win the whole thing. The whole thing will be won. So for the sake of our families, for the sake of our children, we will keep on going. And as the expression goes, I mean, I'm a little embarrassed to say it, to be honest with you, but I'm going to say it because a lot of people do say it. We will fight, fight, fight. We're going to fight for our country. We're going to fight for our country. And together we will save this country, we will restore the republic, and America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, brighter, happier, stronger, freer and greater, and more united than ever before. Our country will be united. You'll watch, you'll watch. You know, we had the most successful country ever, maybe in the world during my term. We had the greatest economy that we've ever had. And you know what was happening? We were uniting. The other side, radical left people were coming over. They wanted to meet. They were coming over. Women, men. If you look at population, our black population, our Hispanic population, our Asian population, everybody was doing better. People that went to the best schools and best colleges in the world got the highest marks than people that couldn't get a high school degree. Everybody was doing better, and our country was coming together. And then we got hit with COVID, a gift from China. Some people would call it the China virus. And we did a great job on that, too. We did a great job, but the world was disturbed. $60 trillion in damage worldwide, millions and millions, tens of millions of people killed. And we still, during this 4-year period, we had the greatest economy, one of the great countries of the world. And we left with a stock market that was higher than it was just prior to COVID coming in. So what we did was something really incredible. But we had the greatest, most successful Look at the people that are the greatest economy in our history, and we're going to do it again, and maybe even better. We learned a lot. We learned a lot about people and about doing things and what works and what doesn't work, and we're going to do it, and it's going to be quick. It's going to be quick, and we're going to have safe cities, and we're going to have great cities again, and we're going to have a capital in Washington, D.C., which is right now crime-ridden. You leave from the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, you go drive down to Washington, D.C., and you drive down and you end up getting murdered, you end up getting hurt, you get mugged. We are going to straighten out Washington, D.C. We're going to make it again the most beautiful capital in the world. We're not going to have graffiti. We're not going to have graffiti on our marble columns. We're not going to have roads that have potholes all over them and medians that are falling into the highways. We're going to run it properly. We're going to change it. We're going to run it properly. It's an embarrassment to us. Can you imagine foreign leaders coming in and running over roads that haven't been paved in years? We're honored to be joined tonight by one of the people who is going to help us build this incredible future, and he is a truly incredible guy. And I don't say that often. He's a great gentleman. He's done such an unbelievable job for North Carolina, for Georgia, for Alabama, for Florida, for Tennessee. His name is Elon Musk. He saved free speech. He created so many different great things. Where is he? Come on up here, Elon. He created the first major American car company in generations, and his rocket company is the only reason we can now send American astronauts into space. Come here. Take over, Elon. Yes, take over.
Hi, everyone. As you can see, I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA. Well, first of all, I want to say what an honor it is to be here. And, you know, the true test of someone's character is how they behave under fire. And we had one president who couldn't climb a flight of stairs, and another who was fist pumping after getting shot. Fight, fight, fight! Blood coming down the face. Now, America is the home of the brave. And there's no truer test than courage under fire. So who do you want representing America? Yeah, absolutely. And I think this election, I think it's the most important election of our lifetime. This is no ordinary election. The other side wants to take away your freedom of speech. They want to take away your right to bear arms. They want to take away your right to vote effectively. You've got 14 states now that don't require voter ID. California, where I used to live, is just passed a law banning voter ID for voting. I still can't believe that's real. So how are you supposed to have a good, proper election if there's no ID? It's just meaningless. And free speech is the bedrock of democracy. And if people don't know what's going on, if they don't know the truth, how can you make an informed vote? You must have free speech in order to have democracy. That's why it's the First Amendment. And the Second Amendment is there to ensure that we have the First Amendment. President Trump must win to preserve the Constitution. He must win to preserve democracy in America. Yes. This is a must-win situation. Must win. So I have one ask for everyone in the audience, everyone who watches this video, everyone in the live stream. This one request. It's very important. Register to vote. Okay, and get everyone you know, and everyone you don't know, drag them to register to vote. There's only 2 days left to register to vote in Georgia and Arizona. 48 hours. Like, text people now. Now. Oh, and then make sure they actually do vote. If they don't, this will be the last election. That's my prediction. Nothing's more important. Nothing's more important. So get everyone you know. So I'm speaking to people out there. Everyone in the crowd, I think, is already convinced. But for people out there that are watching the video, watching the live stream, you need to get everyone you know, at work, your friends, family, text groups, your social media, everything. Get them to register to vote right now. Only 2 days left for Georgia and Arizona. Only a couple weeks left in Pennsylvania. And if they're not registered to vote, it doesn't matter at that point. Register to vote. I'm being repetitive for a reason, okay? So nothing is more important. And a lot of people think maybe their vote doesn't count. Well, it does, okay? It does. It matters. And this election could be decided by 1,000 votes, 500 votes. A tiny margin. So get everyone you know to register to vote. I believe that's swapthevote.com. I believe that's the site. And double check that your registration is good. Don't take it for granted. I'm just being repetitive about this point because it is the one takeaway more than anything that will matter is getting those registrations and then getting everyone you know to actually vote. That is what will decide this election, especially in Pennsylvania. So thank you, and honestly, you want to just be a pest. Just be a pest to everyone you know, people on the street, everywhere. Vote, vote, vote. Fight, fight, fight. Vote, vote, vote. Thank you.
What a great guy. And he'd rather be making rocket ships, because he'd really rather do that. Nobody better. I think he's got 90% of the rockets that go up. But Elon, thank you very much. Incredible, incredible. What he says is true. What he says is true. You know, we're all having fun here tonight, but if we don't register and if we don't vote, we're just going to look upon this as another sort of nice day in our life, but it won't even be a nice day. We're going to look back and we're going to say, wow, it's a lot of time, a lot of effort. We got to win. If we don't win, it's, as he said, it's just not important. We have to save our country, so you have to get out and vote. You got to get out and vote. You got to get your friends and vote because, you know, they play a lot of tricks, this particular other side. Elon's a very nice guy. He doesn't want to say it, but they play a lot of tricks. We can't let it happen. We can't let it happen again. We can't let it happen. And one thing, they showed us how bad they are. They showed us how bad a job they do. So that's one thing we got from this 4 years. They've done the worst job. It's the worst president in the history of our country. It's the worst vice president in the history of our country. And if you watched over the last couple of days, they are doing, this is a Katrina for them. This is one of the worst. They say it's the worst job ever done on helping people through the ravages of a hurricane. And they're watching, she's out there campaigning in San Francisco, a place that she ruined, okay? She ruined San Francisco. She ruined, think of this, she ruined San Francisco. She was the worst DA, and she ruined the state of California, and now she wants to ruin the United States of America. We can't let her do it. So I called Elon to tell him that they needed Starlink as an example. They couldn't get Starlink. I didn't know what Starlink was, I must tell you. Elon, I'm so embarrassed. I didn't know what the hell Starlink was. He loves Starlink. He can tell you every little screw that's needed, every wire. Me, I didn't know. But when I was in North Carolina and Georgia just the other day, yesterday to be exact, but they were saying we have tremendous communications, especially in North Carolina, and we have tremendous problems. We have no communication. The poles were ripped down, the wires were underwater, houses were destroyed, possibly 1,000 people, maybe more, will be, there's 600 people missing. Missing is not good, because you know what missing means generally. That's really bad. And they had no communication. They had literally no communication with, they called it the mainland, because the water was so crazy. It was like they were in the middle of a lake, and they'd never seen anything like it. And they said, do you know somebody named Elon Musk? I said, yeah, I happen to know him a little bit. He just endorsed me, actually. Although he endorsed me a long time ago, but he still, to me, every day is a good endorsement from Elon. Nobody's smarter than Elon. And they said, could you do us a favor? Could you help us? We're trying to get Starlink, and it's very hard to get. Most people say you can't even get it. I called up Elon. I said, North Carolina's in big trouble. Georgia's in big trouble. They need communication. They have none because their poles have been knocked down and their wires are underwater and even dangerously underwater, but they have no communication. Elon, could you do something about Starlink, whatever the hell that is, Elon? Whatever Starlink, that's all they want to hear is Starlink. And an amazing thing happened. I got a call from one of the top people in North Carolina. I got a call from another great person in Georgia. And I wasn't finished with my phone call yet. And they got word that Starlink would be delivered to the States. I said, no. And I said, what the hell is he? What kind of a system is that? Normally, you'd have to hang up, and he'd go and call people. He did it during the phone call. What kind of a system do you have? That's why he's a very advanced. He is a very advanced person. But I want to thank you, Elon, because I got it. And I said, how does it work? 2 days later, how does it work? They said, much better than the wires. So now I'm saying, why the hell aren't they? You're going to come out very well anyway. And he also said, you don't have to pay me. You pay me someday when you get the money back. You don't have to pay me. He wanted nothing. He's a great guy. Thank you, Elon, for being here. Thank you very much. Great honor. Great honor. Thank you, Elon. And that's heartfelt. I can't even see the end. That's a lot of people here today. We're also joined by a great gentleman, a top, brilliant student. He went to a tremendous college, and he graduated right at the top of his class. In 2 years, I didn't know you could do that. It's 4-year college. Then he went to the military. Then he came out, and he did fantastically inside the military. Then he came out. He went to Yale. Without the benefit of family ties. You know what that means, right? Without the benefit. That's pretty good without family ties. I don't know too many of those people. They had no family ties. He got in. You can't get in. And he graduated along with his wife. They're not going to have any problems with your kids academically, I can tell you. His wife and him were like the top students in the class. But he went to Yale Law School, and then he went out into the private sector, did great. Then he ran for the Senate, and he did fantastically. He won. And he's like a rocket ship. He's like one of Elon's rocket ships, the way his career is going. But you see why, because he's a really brilliant guy. And you saw that the other night in the debate, right? You saw that the other night in the debate. You know the expression they have? If that were a fight, they would have stopped it, right? So I just want to thank JD. I was always confident in that pick. And we had great people, too, JD. We have every one of those guys were great. Every one of them would have done a great job. It was amazing. But we appreciate the job you're doing. And he's also very energetic. And he'll go on anywhere. He'll go on MSDNC. I say, oh, he's on that. He'll go on CNN. It's like he has no problem. He swats them like this. He has no problem. No, it's true. Other people say, sir, I'd rather not do that one. I'd rather not do that one, sir. I'd rather not do them because they are, very, with him, he doesn't care. He says, they're not going to outsmart me. So I want to thank J.D. You've done a great job. Thank you very much. Amazing. Great. We have a lot of senators and a lot of people from Congress. I'm going to introduce a few of them that are really outstanding, and they are warriors and they're great patriots. Senator Eric Schmidt. Where's Eric Schmidt? He's around here someplace. Nice, tall, handsome guy. Thank you, Eric. What a great job you've done. He helps us so much with the Senate, and we've got a great Senate. We have to get a couple of more senators elected. I think it's going to happen, too. I think it's going to happen. We have members of Congress here. Dan Muser. Dan, where's Dan? Great. Great job. Real warrior. These are warriors. Guy Reschenthaler. That's the hardest name in the Senate to pronounce, but I've learned how to pronounce it. Guy, thank you very much. Great. Where's Guy? Guy, thank you very much, Guy. Glenn G.T. Thompson. Fantastic guy. Thanks, Glenn. Great job. John Joyce. Thank you, John. Great. Corey Mills. He's out there fighting, too. He's out there. He is out there in North Carolina, Georgia. He's out there helping people. Mike Waltz, who's a tremendous national security asset. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Okay, and a man who was my doctor. I got to know him as a doctor in the White House, right? And then before that, he was actually an admiral, and then he went to the White House. He was a great admiral. He was a great doctor. And I love him for one reason. They asked him in the White House, the press, the fake news media said, who is the most? He was the doctor for Obama, Bush, and Trump. That's pretty good, right? White House doctor for the three of us. He said, the press, who is the healthiest of the three? He said, definitely it's Donald Trump. There's not even a contest. And I love that guy. When he said that, J.D., when he said that, I said, I like this guy. So then he said, sir, he was leaving the White House. He said, I'd love to run for Congress. And he ran against 28 people. They were all running for the Republican primary because whoever won that primary is going to win. I think it's a Trump plus 48. Whoever wins gets 48-point start. And not only did he win, he won easily. And now he's one of the most popular people in Congress and one of the most talented, maybe more importantly. Ronnie Jackson. Ronnie? Where's Ronnie? Where is he? Oh, good. Thank you, Ronnie. And you got a lot of talent surrounding you there. I think it's very important also. We're here for a reason, and that's to win and to honor Corey. But Corey wants us to win, too. And there's a man in the audience that's been very much a career path, a little bit like J.D., great student, great talented student, and fantastic in the military, then went out to be a tremendous success, one of the most successful people on Wall Street, actually. And he's tough and he's smart, and he's going to make sure you always have fracking in Pennsylvania. And he's going to make sure you have many other things other than fracking. You have a senator that now does nothing. He does nothing. And he doesn't fight for you. He votes with Biden, if you can believe it, like 100% of the time. But this guy, and we're lucky that he does it. I don't know. He might not have done it if he had it to do again. I don't know. But I think he's just one of the most outstanding people anywhere in the country to run for office. And we're lucky that he's doing it, and he's got a real shot. He's doing very well in the polls. It's hard to beat somebody that's been there a long time, but this is somebody that's been there a long time and did nothing. He did nothing. And his name is David McCormick, and he's great, and I hope he's going to be your next senator. And I see somebody else I didn't know he was here. Mike Kelly. I see Mike Kelly here. Stand up. Oh, boy, am I lucky. Am I lucky I spotted him? If I didn't spot you, Mike, I was in big trouble, right? This is a man who's beloved in this state, and he's fantastic. So thank you, Mike. Thank you. We also have some terrific people from law enforcement. Butler County Sheriff Mike Sloop. Thank you, Mike. Great job. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for your help, too, I could tell you. Thank you for your help. I can say that. Thank you very much. Butler County Commissioner Leslie Oshie. Leslie, thank you. Thank you, Leslie. Great job. RNC Chairman Michael Watley. This guy is doing a great job. He's doing great. Came from North Carolina. We won North Carolina. He kept their cheating down to a minimum, and we were able to win it, and we were solid all night long. And he's great, but if we don't have good results by the 6th of November, I will never say that about him again. No, he's a great guy. He's working very hard. 24 hours a day he's working, I know that. And he's working mostly on Stop the Steal, because we have a lot of votes. We have plenty of votes. Stop the steal. That's why you've got to get out. You've got to get out and vote. We're going to win this thing. And the more we win it, you know, it's too big to rig. You know the expression we use? Make it too big to rig. You know, at a certain point, Elon would understand this better than anybody statistically. At a certain point, their cheating doesn't matter. And we want to make it too big to rig. And we also have somebody that's very special, the co-chair of the Republican Party, Lara Trump. Thank you. Lara, thanks. And, you know, oftentimes with families, they say, oh, you know, why did you put that one in or this one in, and all the different people. So many people have problems with that. In her case, everyone said, how the hell did you get her to do it? She has been unbelievable, so thank you very much. Comes from North Carolina, and I have a feeling she's going to be spending some time down there a little bit. And she's married to my wonderful son, Eric, who's right here. So, Eric, please stand up. He's a great guy. Eric has a distinction. He has gotten more subpoenas than any man in the history of our country by about 10 times. Every day Congress would meet, they'd send him a subpoena. What is it about? They have no idea. But I think he's got the all-time record, and he's handled it all beautifully. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. A friend of mine, a great, great businessman, one of the most respected people, and he made a big, big contribution yesterday to Georgia and a big contribution to North Carolina. Steve Witkoff is here. Hi, Steve. Thanks. And another man who's one of the greatest businessmen in the country, he actually said that if Trump doesn't win, this country is going to go into a massive depression. Well, I don't know about that, but he has been a very good predictor, I will say that. And truly one of the greats, one of the great pickers, picker meaning stocks. He knows what he's doing, and highly respected by everybody. John Paulson. Thank you, John. Great. Great guy. Now, we have so many others, and I won't do it because we have to really get out of here before it gets too cold for people. But I love it much better because there's one teleprompter. Not that I use the teleprompters too much. Isn't it nice to have a president that doesn't need a teleprompter? No, we don't need it. But this one was right smack in the sun. Great job back there, fellas. They said the teleprompters are working fine. Well, thank goodness. Did you see what happened the other day with the teleprompter with her? That was not a pretty sight. The teleprompter went off and she went off too. She didn't know what the hell happened. And you know, teleprompters are very dangerous because they go off a lot. You have to be prepared for them to go off cold blank. You'll have 100,000 people. You have 75,000 people. You have this. And if the teleprompter goes off, you got to be able to move. She did not move well. This was not a good situation. But three more heroes from July 13th who rendered first aid to Corey incredibly. Dr. Jim Sweetland. Rico Elmore, who was unbelievable. Rico, you were unbelievable. He ran over, National Guard. He ran over and grabbed Corey, and Corey was still living, and he was doing mouth-to-mouth resuscitation on a man who was really in bad shape like nobody's ever seen, and his family appreciates it, and I do too. So thank you, Rico, very much. Right? Amazing, amazing, amazing the people that we have. And you learn about them under times like this. That's when you really learn. So we're going to be seeing Rico again. And Ed Shear, fantastic job. Thank you, Ed. We appreciate it. Thank you, Ed. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ed. Great job. In addition, this evening, we have to send our prayers and support to all the families affected by Hurricane Helene. This has been the worst hurricane response by a president and vice president since Katrina, and this is simply not acceptable. Those people, I was there yesterday with North Carolina and Georgia, and I'll tell you, and by the way, the governor of Georgia is doing an excellent job, but we have other people that aren't doing a good job, and we have to have them do a good job. But the federal government is doing a very bad job. They are not doing the job, and we have death and destruction that we haven't seen maybe ever. It's a real bad one, and they have to get people there because they don't have people there. They don't have the people. Kamala wined and dined in San Francisco, and all of the people in North Carolina, no helicopters, no rescue. It's just what's happened there is very bad. They're offering them $750 to people whose homes have been washed away. And yet we send tens of billions of dollars to foreign countries that most people have never heard of. They're offering them $750. They've been destroyed. These people have been destroyed. The one young lady washed, you saw that with her son. I mean, pretty, I wish I never saw it, but just washed away. Your son was washed away with the grandparents. And so sad. And they're giving them $750. And think of it, we give foreign countries hundreds of billions of dollars, and we're handing North Carolina $750. If you want a president who won't even try to save you when the floodwaters are rising, vote for Kamala. She's not the right person. Look, you know what? If they did a good job, I wouldn't have run. To be honest with you, I didn't need to do this. I didn't need to. If I thought they were doing an even modestly good job, I wouldn't have run, but I saw right from the beginning, grossly incompetent, and I was right about that, and I decided to run, and we're doing really well. I was telling you about polls. We're way up in some polls. We're up in other polls. And with the swing states, I think most of them have us up in every single swing state, including the great commonwealth of a place called Pennsylvania. And don't ever not call it a commonwealth, because I've seen people call it a state, and that's the end of them. That's practically the end of their political career. You got to be very careful with Pennsylvania. It's that commonwealth. I haven't made that mistake. I don't want to either. It was not a pretty picture. If you want a president who will stop at nothing to protect you and your family, I hope you're going to vote for a gentleman named Donald J. Trump. Have you heard of him? Together we will rebuild Western North Carolina, rural Georgia, and every other state that's been so badly affected. That includes Alabama. Virginia was very hit hard. South Carolina was hit very hard. Florida. So many states. Tennessee was hit really hard. They were all hit, and we're going to work with them. And, you know, the next president is going to be the one that really, once they got to get this done. But once that happens, the next president is going to be the one that has to really help him. And J.D. will be there to help him. I know that. 2024 is the most important election in the history of our country. And here are the facts. My opponent, Kamala Harris, is the most incompetent and far-left nominee ever to run for president. You know, she's much further left than crazy Bernie Sanders. You know that. She wants to open borders. She took the most secure border in U.S. history and turned it into the worst border in the history of the world. Remember, she was appointed border czar. She says she wasn't now after 3 years, but she was. But whether she was or not, she was in charge of the border. And the other day I saw her get up and say, we will do this, we will do that. Why didn't they do it 4 years ago? Why didn't they do it? The damage is so bad, and so it's been done. She let in 21 million illegal aliens from all over the world, from prisons and jails and mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're terrorists at record levels, at levels we've never seen before. She cost you $29,000 a family through inflation price hikes, and now she wants a larger tax hike, and she wants to go the largest tax hike in American history. There's never been a tax hike like what she's proposing. She's going to raise your taxes a minimum of $3,000. She's a big taxer. And she was the original creator of Defund the Police. I think for all the sheriffs over here, if you're a partner in Defund the Police for even 2 days, you cannot be president. But she was one of the founders of Defund the Police, and she still believes that, by the way. I don't know how anybody could, but she still believes that. And if she ever had a chance, there's a good possibility she'd go back to it. Can you imagine? Somebody's robbing our house. Well, there's nothing we can do about it. That's what they say there's nothing. You know, they tried it. And you know where they tried it? In Minnesota with our vice president. And it wasn't working out too well. It was working out very well for the robbers and the criminals. That's the only one it was working out well for. Kamala Harris vowed to abolish ICE. She wants mass amnesty and citizenship for illegals. And worst of all, she lost, and this is maybe the worst thing in the whole, that nobody talks, the fake news won't mention it. She lost more than 325,000 migrant children that are now dead in slavery or just plain missing, probably never to be seen again, never to see their parents again. But this isn't like, this is 325,000 have been lost. She praised the idea of a 70% to an 80% tax rate. She imposed a natural gas export ban on Pennsylvania, which is killing your energy workers and your pricing. You know, you have one of the highest energy costs in the country, and yet you're sitting on top of a massive amount of energy that she doesn't want to get. It's been a disaster for your state, and now she's vowed repeatedly. Now, all of a sudden, she changed her mind. But when, you know, with politicians, it's always the first statement that comes out to be the one they want. So she spent 14 years knocking fracking. We're never going to have fracking. We're not going to frack. All of a sudden, a little while ago, she came out, I love fracking very much. No, she'll go. For illegal aliens in detention at taxpayer expense. I don't think Elon likes.
Sorry for cutting the audio there. I got a warning. If they try to strike me, I'll fight it or whatever. But here on my screen, heads up, we've detected audio in your stream that belongs to someone else. It may be temporarily blocked. If you plan to continue, please ensure the content owner has added your channel to their allow list. I mean, it's a public thing, you know. I don't care, you know, if it's coming from another news source or whatever. But, you know, this is a public use, you know, political discourse or whatever. So I'll go back to it for a little bit and see if they, you know, suspend, you know, the stream or not. So here it goes.
Never made it to Iowa. She quit before Iowa, and now she's running, and that's okay. But, you know, we spent $150 million beating Biden, and as soon as he was down and out for the count, they said, let's take him out. We'll give somebody else to run. Never happened before. We do a lot of firsts, I will tell you. We do a lot of firsts. But she's a person that rated even worse in every statistic than any other senator. She was rated at the bottom of the U.S. Senate. She's destroyed everything she touched, but the good news is that we have a plan to fix it. We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it fast. Nobody is going to stand for open borders. Nobody is going to stand for a bad military. Nobody is going to stand for education that's not proper. We're moving education back to the states. You're going to be running your own education. So we have, you know, in education, so important is what's more important than education, but we rank at the bottom of every list. They rank 40 major countries. We're at the bottom, but we're top of the list as the cost per pupil. We spend more per pupil, per student, than any other country anywhere in the world. So we're number one in that, and we're number 38, 39, or 40 every single time. And you have Denmark, you have Sweden, you have Norway, you have China. It's always a top 5. Can you believe it? China's a top 5. That's amazing. But we're going to move our education back to the states. So places like Indiana and Iowa and Idaho and states that you don't even hear too much of because they're so good and so well run, they're going to run their own education. And you know what's going to come out of that? A Denmark, a Norway, a Sweden, maybe, I don't even know, China. Can you imagine China with 1.4 billion